The king in the north! The king in the north!
Welcome to the cast on Titan Chapter 83 edition. This month we're going to be talking about Chapter 83 and everything that happened to Chapter 83. So, let me throw the manga spoilers disclaimer out there early and say that if you have not read Chapter 83, that this podcast will contain spoilers for Chapter 83 and that you should go read that before coming back to this. As in, don't listen to it now. So, moving on from that, we are ready to do our introductions, and somehow, for the first time in a while, I think, we have the regular crew, full crew tonight.
Woohoo!
Seems like
Very
a special occasion.
cast.
It seems like a special occasion, though. This is how it should be normally.
You would hope.
Yeah, you would hope. Go ahead and do introductions.
Alright, I'm Scott, also ScottyV23 from the subreddit, and I thought this was a really good chapter. I had some gripes with it. I think the second half left a lot to be desired. I didn't like a lot of the plot choices, and I didn't like a lot of the choices in regards to what the main characters have to face, and kind of a couple of the tropes, as we'll discuss further on in this cast, that were overused constantly, even between the last two chapters. I didn't like that, but overall I think it was a good chapter, and I liked a lot of the action and a lot of the anticipation, and I look forward to what comes next in the next couple chapters.
I'm Zach, Darth Mewtwo, one of the subreddit moderators. I'm in Overlords. Oh, no, wrong way around. Whatever. I don't know. This chapter really pissed me off to begin with, because I really wanted Armin to be dead, and I really wanted Erwin to be dead, and neither one of them is dead, and something tells me neither one of them is going to end up dead. So, fuck you, Isayama. That being said, other than that, pretty good.
Oh, we've missed you, Zach.
Yeah.
It hasn't been the same without you.
I wouldn't know. I can't be asked to sit through a 6-hour recording.
Yeah, I know.
It's bad enough making this thing. I'm watching it. Y'all are crazy.
We are pretty crazy.
No, not you. The people that watch this.
Oh, yeah, them too. They're all crazy.
Everyone is.
Okay.
I am Ryan. I go by WX Bombadil on Reddit, and I really liked this chapter. It was a bit of a blockbuster. There was a lot of things that happened, a lot of discussion points. The ending was a bit cliche, to say the least. And it was a little unfortunate to see a couple different plot lines go that direction, but it does raise up some interesting questions for what the next events to unfold are going to be. So it'll be interesting to discuss about that. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. A lot of things moved forward, and it felt like it was paced really nicely. It felt like stuff was happening pretty quickly, but at the same time, I wasn't overwhelmed with the content. So all in all, I thought it was pretty good. I'm looking forward to what happens next.
I am Stiller3, one of the other moderators from the subreddit. For this chapter...
The other moderator.
The other moderator, yeah. One of them, at least.
Pretty much just the other.
The other. I'm okay with that, honestly. For this chapter, I was kind of a low key. Not really. I didn't hate anything about this. I'm back to the old routine now, which is I didn't hate anything about this chapter, but it really didn't do anything for me either.
Oh, your old routine is fuck this chapter. It was shitty. I hate this manga. Shit.
Kind of.
Depending on which
Pretty
chapters.
standard still.
There were some older chapters I was that way about, for sure. Yeah,
like the entire last arc.
This chapter was okay. It's not great. We got some interesting plot details from Zeke. We, got to see the reactions and sort of the aftermath of the big battle, and sort of some pretty good hints about where we're going next. And I understand that this is the sort of falling action of this conflict, so it makes sense. I get it. So, didn't hate it, didn't love it. It's just okay. Okay.
All right.
So that's it for our introductions and impressions and such. We need to go ahead and start talking about the chapter here, so we're going to pretty well go
Straight into page
procedural
one.
here. Or we could just go, if you guys have anything you want to jump into first.
I might as well start from the beginning.
Okay.
Oh, I thought the beginning was super boring.
The beginning was pretty
it was
boring.
just a flashback, really. It
just
didn't.
a stupid flashback to
It kind of
Armin and Eren
reinforced
as
that he
kids.
liked Armin. Like, yeah, we get it.
I mean, how many pages did that cover? Like, the first 6, 5?
Okay, I know this
Literally
is gonna be skipping.
2.
I'm about to say something that's skipping ahead a while, so we can go back after I say it. But I really hate they show Armin's charred remains here, what should be his remains. There is no way this man is alive. It's impossible.
Fell 50 fucking meters after being turned into a human bricassee.
Well,
He's dead.
He's fucking alive.
That's a good word. I like that.
despite the fact that he did fall that distance, we'll kind of forget that part for now. But I did see a neat little post on the subreddit, and it was talking about how, oh yeah, it's like if you kind of baked them in an oven more than anything else. So you get the skin all nice and crispy on the outside, but doesn't mean they have to be completely destroyed.
At 105 degrees Fahrenheit, cells die. You cannot maintain being in that temperature, let alone falling 100 or 50 meters onto a stone roof at an angle that would have broken his back just looking at it.
In any circumstance other than the one where he gets injected with the serum, he's gonna die. He's like not even life support. You know what I mean? He's a goner already. So it's the idea is he's like, oh my gosh, he's still, his body hasn't shut down yet after these severe burns.
So I guess we're getting...
Which is not completely out of the question. Now the fall, I don't know what happened there. Maybe he just planned it gently.
Yeah, like a leaf.
Yeah, right? It just float down.
I guess we're getting into the crux of the chapter here by...
Yeah, we dove right in, right?
Yeah, this is the big point coming out of this chapter, because this chapter pushed really hard on the reader between saving Armin and saving Erwin. So Isayama did his damnedest to try and show us that one of them is going to die. Make your choice who you want to live.
Well, it's just so weird because obviously it's supposed to be like a big who would you choose moment, but we've got all these different plot lines that we had with Erwin. Is he gonna die? And everyone's like, no, he's probably gonna live. I hope he does because it'd be exactly same thing with Armin. It's like, is he gonna die? Is he gonna live? Of course, nobody really expected that coming up to this. And then you got the whole the serum bullshit, and now it's all thrown together in one big knot. So it's just a bunch of weird almost convoluted plot lines being thrown together, and it feels just kind of odd that it's being. I get it was set up this way so you could have the one big decision, but I don't know. It's not really that satisfying in my opinion.
I don't know if it's
they're gonna take the syringe, inject it in Erwin, take the empty syringe, shove it in Eren's back, pull out some of his spinal fluid, shove it in Armin, and go, yay, we saved them both!
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I don't know if I'm the only one, but this seems like it's a red herring, and that no one's actually going to die from this.
No, they're not.
It would be super lame, and kind of make all this, take away a lot of the gravitas from it.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
it's what's the lesson they learned there?
Everyone survives. No one has to die. But the thing I really hate also is on the last panel, how it says in the black text, the heartless decision of an adult may steal away the life of their childhood friend. It's okay, is it really heartless to choose the man who single-handedly charges and inspires any troops and has all these epic decisions and is the glue to the Survey Corps? Is that really heartless to choose him over Armin? Armin's cool, he's important, but is he really that important?
Well,
he's the one that found Reiner in the wall.
Yeah, it's basically triage.
Oh, of course.
You're right, because it's not really about who would you like around more. It's about who would be more important and more essential to the operation. Because this is all within the context of this military and hierarchy structure. Really, they should be bringing it back.
So I just kind of noticed, based off of what Scotty said, that this is kind of setting up the reader to fall into a little bit of a hypocrisy pit. When you're talking about the morality or the ethics behind whether or not it's okay to revive either Armin or Erwin instead of the other, and sort of how people have treated the shifters, and thinking back to them. I think it's kind of funny that we're talking about how this could be an ethical dilemma, or this might make someone, appear bad or whatever, when this is the kind of thing that's been talked about for all of the shifters for a long time now. So seeing the Survey Corps folks start to move towards this gray ultimatum so to speak, where we're actually able to divide groups for the Survey Corps now, instead of just for the people who either supported the shifters or didn't. I actually like to see that we're pretty well coming full circle on that, involving everybody now.
I was gonna say, it's funny the Survey Corps consists of like 8 people now.
Yes, is that right?
Yeah.
Too?
Yeah.
They're gonna have some real recruiting problems when they come back.
Yeah.
So that like internal struggle we're talking about with is like really
At
just
least
like
now they're
yeah,
up to
these guys have-
25% Titan shifter membership.
That's true. Honestly, they might be able to recruit more people now once they
seem to be more.
get the wall back, because then it's like, hey, look what we did. We have some victories here. Look at these 2 shifters, or 1 shifter now that we've killed. You're like, we're making progress. Who wants to join in?
Plus, whoever they eat is going to turn into the colossal fucking Titan, so...
It's a pretty big statement to be able to come out and say, hey, we beat the armored, colossal, and beast Titan in a fight with just the 10 of us.
And now we have the colossal Titan. Look at this, guys.
Jesus, when you lay it on the table like that, does that not sound like the most bullshit thing possible?
Well, it wouldn't be
way?
a story if it wasn't.
Jesus Christ, like how can you create such more of an underdog kind of scenario?
Yeah.
And most of it was just fucking Levi and Mikasa.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Isn't anything that the Survey Corps does just Levi and Mikasa?
I'm still
Yeah,
mad
just,
about
Like,
that.
honestly,
Turn on those Acker jets and just go for it.
Yeah.
Annie, that would be Levi and Mikasa. Annie Part 2, Levi and Mikasa.
Annie falling off the wall is Mikasa.
Yeah, they certainly pull the weight.
I mean, the list goes on, but still. So, Scotty, do you believe that Ryan or Armin and Erwin are gonna die, or one of them's gonna die?
Here's what I think's gonna happen. I think that Levi's gonna be stern on his decision to revive Erwin, and at the last second, Erwin's gonna wake up and like guzzle out a couple words like, "Let me die, save Armin," and that is gonna prompt Levi to turn Armin into the Titan to eat Bertolt, and then that's gonna happen. I think Armin is gonna become the Colossal Titan, and then Erwin's gonna be the one that's left to die.
So you think Erwin's
Reading
gonna
back
die?
along
Okay.
that, there was a theory on the subreddit I
Yeah.
saw that that's going to happen, except when they inject Armin dies like a second beforehand, and it doesn't work, and the serum's wasted.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Ooh,
That'd be
That'd be funny.
awesome.
That would be the
The-
best possible outcome here for me.
I'd like to
the
see
balls
that
on
happen.
Nishiyama to pull that off, though.
I'd really
The
like
balls.
to see that happen. That'd be amazing. That'd be great. Props to whoever came up with that theory.
You know, it'd be interesting. Because I was just thinking about the fact that you mentioned the hypothetical situation where Armin gets the serum and eats Bert and becomes a Titan shifter. It's an interesting parallel, and I guess a fairly obvious one when you look at it all. But the fact that Eren at the very beginning of the series had his whole moment when he discovered he was a shifter where he died essentially, at least to the perspective of everyone around him, and then had his kind of like rebirth Titan thing, found out as a Titan, and it kind of changed his character from that point. For the most part because of the fact that he was now a Titan shifter, which is obviously a pretty big thing. But it's an interesting parallel to what would happen with Armin in this case, because he'd be going through essentially the same thing, and how that would affect his character down the road. And especially it would be interesting to see, the already well-established rapport between him and Eren, how that would change, knowing that they both, again, essentially been through the same thing at that point. But it'd be an interesting dynamic that would unfold.
And now Armin will be able to carry out his false flag attacks all on his own.
That parallel is the exact reason why I don't think anybody's gonna die. That's exactly why I think it's just gonna be fine. This is gonna be fine. There's gonna be no.
Does Erwin have to live?
Have to live?
I mean, really, neither of them have to live, but
He's going to find a way to ass pull it.
I mean,
at this point, what more does Erwin service the plot?
they don't have to live, and I'm not like encouraging them to live. It's just I don't.
Because if Armin lives, I can still see the huge potential he has going forward in the plot. Whereas Erwin, I mean, really, his end game, kind of his resolution, is what's in the basement, and that was all kind of tied up the way he kind of made peace with that.
Mm-hmm.
So really, at this point, with Levi, Hanji, and I guess kind of the rest of the crew already essentially stepping up and filling his shoes, do we really need him around?
But couldn't you also
as far
make
as
the point?
plot progression is concerned?
Couldn't you also make the point though that Armin came to peace with his goal of seeing the ocean and seeing like what's out there. Like he already had that entire dialogue where he was like basically giving up and telling Eren it's okay. Like you fulfill my dream for me.
I think the difference there is that we're comparing Armin, who's essentially mostly a prospect. Like most of his qualities are we're looking down the road from like years when he's a leader and he comes in to fill that role. In the sense that he has the most potential, whereas Erwin is essentially more, and I hate to use the term because I don't really mean it, but like washed up. Like he's missing, you know what I mean? Like he was already injured, he was already mentally broken before that point, and we see that as his character had developed, and we learn more about it over the chapters.
So the comparison is almonds and oranges?
Well, he was already mentally preparing himself to give up command, you know what I mean? And you could see that in the way he was acting and performing, and I think that there's no reason why that wouldn't carry over even if they brought him back. Whereas again, you go back to Armin, who's just, his whole character is built around potential and what he can do in the future and how that is going to interact with the plot because of the potential that he has with just all the other characters and all the other plot devices and how he's worked with them so far. Seems to have a lot more potential, which is why I think it makes more sense for him to carry on. Now, whether it's a good thing for him to stick around, after basically dying, that's pretty questionable. Same with Erwin for that matter. So the whole like situation we're in now is obviously very contrived, but that's okay. I mean, it's just part of the story. It doesn't necessarily mean it's has to be the worst thing in the world.
I mean, I saw Armin's huge potential too. Potential energy before he plummeted 50 meters and was supposed to die. I like
the idea though of someone who was supposed to have so much potential, like being taken away before they reach their peak. I just love the realism in there, which is even if someone is set up to do great things in the future and they have all of these qualities that will make them a great leader one day, that doesn't necessarily mean that should be plot armor to therefore ignore the obvious choice of who at that moment is going to be the better leader, who at that moment has the better qualities. Because if you're looking at it from a perspective of 99% of the Survey Corps dies within like a year or two, and Armin to reach his potential,
it was a minute.
Yeah, and Armin to reach his potential might take years and years and years. If you're looking at it with any sense of realism, which I know this is a manga and it's not supposed to be looked at like that, it just makes me frustrated because I know the logical choice from a writing perspective is you want to go with the character that still has more development left. So clearly, from a writer's like Isayama's perspective, Armin is the clear winner in that decision. If he had to pick one, but from a reader's perspective, if they're looking at it from a rational perspective, I think Erwin is the logical choice. So it's it's that dichotomy between like what would be better for the story or what would be better
what
for
you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that is a good point, especially with keeping the fear of anybody can die, that kind of aspect around. But one thing I would offer to rebut is that if we take it, look from like a narrative perspective, as like purely not like take ourselves out of the story and just purely from an author's perspective. You know those theories that like Armin is a narrator of the story and he's talking in the future. Well, let's say that's true, or let's even disregard that for a second. The idea is that in any kind of great story like this, where you have lots of people die, people make it to the end, it's kind of random and sporadic in reality who does make it to the end. But then once you already kind of pre-filter out all the people who have died, and you go from the people from the back, already like at the end of this, take them and then follow their story all the way back to the beginning. It would most likely come across as as unbelievable, and a lot of circumstances where it's like, oh, they could have died, or this should have happened, or X, Y, Z, but they got lucky over X amount of times, or different events happened. And so a lot of times, even in reality, some of these stories seem stranger than fiction almost, the way that things should have happened or unfolded. But in the end, you have these unusual circumstances which lead to great stories. So it's kind of almost like a circular paradox in a way, because events like this. Crazy things make great stories, but they seem unbelievable because great stories kind of feel that, which is how it goes into itself. But that's one way of looking at it. So in that sense, no, his death wouldn't be too crazy, but it's kind of going off on a bit of a tangent there.
I think at the end of the day,
did that make any sense at all?
Applies, so we really still have to ask what the simplest solution here is, and that's the most likely one.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that both of them. It's pretty clear. I think that we can wrap up both of their personal story arcs, Armin and Erwin, and we can have them die here. It's just whether or not you believe that they're dead or not, as far as it's like from our perspective. I mean, I think Ryan's point is also totally valid, that looking at it from the author's perspective, either we focus on the character who has a lot more development left, which would be Armin, or we kill both of them because we have big balls and we want to impress the fan base, or
there we go.
Or we take the third option, which is both of them live and the fan base will also be happy. Because most of them, the majority of them, want these characters alive.
I don't know. I think the option you're missing here is whichever character is more popular with the fan base gets to live.
Well,
because
that's
then
my
he
last
pisses off the
option,
least
which is
people.
both of them, because they're both popular in the fan base.
I guess. But maybe if he's just completely tired of ass pulls, he might say, "Oh, I still need to kill one of these. Which one can I get away with more easily?"
So all these
Which
options, all the different options, all the different ways that you can look at it, are why I think this is a totally subjective stance, or a totally subjective decision that we're trying to figure out how it's going to happen, how it's going to play out.
Well, let me ask you this: if it is in fact a bait and switch and nobody is supposed to die, how would both of them survive? Because you assume that one gets injected with the serum, or maybe not. But assuming that you don't do anything, both of them die. It seems like at the most you can save only one of them.
So I think
the same way that Reiner's lived 20 times now. Ass pulls out the wazoo.
But again, within the context of the story, what could save them at this point? Because it seems like both are literally on the verge of death, and only the serum could save them.
So did Reiner when he got stabbed through the neck.
That's true.
He didn't know that he could distribute his brain functions throughout the rest of his body, but here again, we are today.
As far as we know, Armin and Erwin are not Titans.
Exactly, but my point is that Isayama is not afraid to create completely new story elements out of thin air at critical moments.
Well,
oh my god, we get to dilute the serum with water or something.
It's a different story. But again, you got to back that up with something. When you say yeah, they can survive, but I mean how?
Well, to answer the question, what I was going to say is that the serum eliminates having to answer that question for one of these characters. So yes. I think it's much harder to rationalize bringing back Armin if you don't use the serum on him. So obviously the serum has to go to Armin. The description of Erwin's injuries in this chapter, I believe, are that his guts are hanging out and he's having a lot of bleeding just everywhere, internal and external.
Yeah, that was my next point that I was going to bring up is this even fatal?
I think
I think it was implied pretty heavily that he was about to die.
His guts are hanging out, but
his stomach has been gouged out. Even his organs have been damaged. He won't stop bleeding.
Yeah,
here's a theory. Here's a theory. Oh yeah, what are you gonna say, Stiller?
Well, I don't think that's in this story. I don't think that's too grave of a wound. I think
it really is.
It is possible for that to be saved somehow. I think
the man's already lost an arm.
Yeah. I mean, if I have to pitch a theory about it, I would say maybe Hanji will go over there and she'll stuff the shit back in his stomach and then cauterize and then stitch.
Yeah, that'll fix that internal bleeding, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got boiling hot Titan steam everywhere.
Yeah, why not? That'll work.
No, I think what could happen though is use the serum on Armin, like we're saying, and then you wheelbarrow Erwin over to the basement, and maybe there's some spare serums in there or some shit that can save him.
Yeah,
or maybe Berthold has one on him like Reiner had the letter.
But listen, once you get into the basement, anything is fair game. Anything. So could there be something down there that could... Anything. So could there be...
I guess that's true. That could be a wild card.
Yeah, absolutely.
More serum.
Couldn't someone just do a fatality on Berthold and rip out his spine and give that to Erwin? Just put it in his mouth.
There we go.
Yeah, but
I can accept basement as a wild card.
But that would get
answered because that seems to be the only way.
The spine is what we need for the serum to work in the first place. So that would just end up with Reiner or with Armin as a mindless Titan and Erwin as a cannibal. Neither one of them would live.
True. Yeah. And Reiner got away, so we can't do that either. Yeah. Okay, so the basement thing will work at least. It's got to be some bullshit that we're not going to be able to think of that's going to be able to save it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be
Calvin Ball.
It's got to be something. It's going to be some Deus Ex serum from somewhere.
Erwin's going to transfer his consciousness into one of the glowing crystals. That's a power source.
Deus Ex serum?
Deus Ex.
Oh, Deus Ex. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, while we're talking about Armin and Erwin, shout outs to that to that guy who apparently just like climbed a roof with Irvin on his back.
And a wall.
Just,
Yeah,
like,
that guy.
rolled
And
up
a
on
wall.
Like, oh, by the way, yeah, right.
That guy
They
put
train
that
their
guy,
soldiers well.
He was a red shirt, but he put work in. We got to give
No,
that
no,
guy
you see
credit.
Armin's
He was the
muscles?
dude who survived. Remember who we were talking about last time? Who was like, oh, this dude, he just miraculously survived. Like, what's he gonna do?
Yeah.
I guess he went and like dragged his ass back.
He's
Also,
Joke's on you, Zeke. We have a mule, too.
can I ask, like, why on earth did every single soldier get a briefing on the serum? Because aren't they still operating under the assumption that there could potentially be an informant or like a spy of some
I think
sort?
that ship has sailed at this point.
You think so? Because I don't know.
I think considering they're surrounded by literally the two Titans and Monkey Trouble,
Yeah, because they
or
know
knew
the
they were
claws-
going into that environment. You know what I mean?
So they gave
I guess.
the serum to Levi, which means that there is absolutely no risk in telling anyone whatsoever about it because there's no threat to it at all.
Yeah, it's not like they could do
That's
anything unless
true.
they killed him.
God
which is
himself could not take that serum from Levi,
Yes, as it seems to be.
so he could tell
Mike-
anyone he damn well pleases. I think. Not to mention that room had to be full of like 10 to 15 people max, right?
No.
It looked like more.
There's at least
Yeah.
8 tables. Each table has 8 people. So it's 64.
And what is this?
It's survey
The room
members.
that they were telling the survey corner.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm a little skeptical about those numbers.
No, just look at the damn
That's
page.
a
There's
lot of
2
people.
rows
Look
and
at
4 tables each, 8 people per table, 4 to
Yeah,
side.
but I mean, some of those guys are probably like Garrison or.
No, I think they're all
It-
survived. I think
no.
the idea is, remember, this is the wave of writers that kind of just got wiped out.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah,
is pretty much
this is
the
the
last
survey
of it.
Actually,
My question, though, is why Hanji didn't consider herself as serum candidate,
she's
given that
fine.
she's
That's-
missing an eye.
That's the worst idea.
Eye patches make people cooler and stronger. She doesn't need a
I'm
serum.
pretty sure
fact.
that you're going to need some amount of depth perception to operate 3D maneuver
If
gear.
you wear an
Just
eye
saying.
patch and
Doesn't
you're in
matter.
a story, you become a badass. That's just a fact.
Remember,
This isn't
Zach,
Team Fortress 2. You can't aim without depth perception.
Zach,
This is
Zach,
anime.
But
This is
remember,
anime,
they
it's
explicitly
better.
mentioned in this chapter about how they're basically going off a triage system. They're like, we need to only use it on like the worst of the worst conditions, people who are not going to come back otherwise. It's like if you get injured, the idea is that like if it's not like life threatening, don't use the serum on you because it needs to be used for something else.
Well, no, they
So,
said
and
crit,
not only that,
prioritize
the
the
fact that
critically
she's a
wounded,
commander.
but at the end of the
It
day,
pushes
they've got
forward.
Reiner captured. They need to take care of him ASAP, so they're going to end up using the serum one way or another, even if no one's injured.
I mean, I think.
And she's the one that's injured around.
Well, that was the whole thing with Mikasa because she was like, well, who are we use it on? Because like right now we got nobody else except me, and then they're like, oh wait, but Armin because he's still alive, and that's why she flies up there, etc.
But they didn't know Armin had been burnt to death yet.
The only
Well,
thing.
yeah.
The only thing I
Well-
can knock Hanji for is not keeping Reiner with Bertholdt. Otherwise, her gaining an eye patch that's an improvement,
Bertholdt?
I think.
Why with Bertholdt?
Because if you have the two of them together, it makes Zeke's job a hell of a lot harder to kidnap the two of them.
It makes it a lot easier, actually, but they also didn't know that Bertholdt had been captured.
I didn't know that.
I get why it's better for Hanji not to actually become a Titan though, because when you think about it, who would you want, in your right mind around with that? Probably
Yeah,
Most
probably
seasoned-
not her.
Probably the most seasoned commander around would be good to not be in Titan form and be able to keep a handle on the situation. But the
But-
problem is, if she's gone or something fucks up and she's not able to come back, then they kind of lost her. Which is, unfortunately, her mind is a pretty important tool at this point.
And back to what you said, Siller, if they knew that Bertholdt had been captured, she would have just lopped Reiner's head off right there. They can only use one serum, only one shifter.
Yeah, tough decision.
So they didn't know Armin had turned into a chicken nugget. They didn't know that... Oh, he must be descended from Rod Rice. They didn't know that Bertholdt had been captured. They had no idea what was up over there. They saw the Colossal fall. That's it.
Do you think that the guy who saved Erwin is going to get a name?
No.
Or do you think he's just going to get
Probably
killed off next
No,
chapter?
no. He's gonna die next chapter.
Because he's like literally
I doubt
like
he'll
the
die,
last
but he's a
10
registered.
Survey Corps member.
He's gonna fall off that roof and never be heard from again.
He's already done.
I mean,
the war.
Armin proved that you can land on roofs.
But I mean, where would he go? He's like literally, this is the last of the Survey Corps. He's like
just
pretty much
gonna
like
fade
with their
back
squad
into
now.
the background.
He's a new
That's it.
squad member.
He's done. He might
He's
become a squad leader.
retiring.
He might become a squad leader if he wants to, but we're never going to hear about him again.
A squad of 0. He would lead no one.
He's a one-man squad. Good for him.
He's going to draft the garrison in and say, "You're Survey Corps now. Go kill yourselves." Yay, progress!
I bet this is not the last we've seen him.
He's not going to get a name. You're crazy.
You're right. Probably not, but
I don't even
maybe
know. We might not even ever see him again.
He had Chekhov's gun with him. It was fired. He's gone.
That's okay. First of all, if they like send him off or something, that's bullshit because nobody else gets to go.
Hey, random dude, go find Zeke.
Yeah. It's like back to the kitchen with you. Come on now.
Yeah.
Like they have enough like people to spare to just be like, goodbye, you can leave now, as if they're in good shape.
Unless they kill him off in the next like chapter 2, they gotta keep him around, right? Because they can't just like send him away. He's like the only Survey Corps member left.
He's gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna claim PTO now. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna have Jim over there cover for me. I'm gonna go on vacation now. I'm not sticking around for the rest of this fucking shit.
Who the hell is Jim? Everyone else is dead.
Dude, he got more lines than Connie.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
He actually got more lines than most of the characters.
Yeah, I guess
well, not
that's
most.
True.
Fair enough.
The only thing we saw Connie in this chapter, I believe, was him trying to take off after Zeke.
Yep.
All right.
Oh yeah, like a dumbass. It was like,
he's
that's
so
an awful
courageous.
idea.
So courageous.
I knew Scotty was gonna be like, he's gonna say like a hero.
I mean, fucking honestly.
I'm glad Isayama remember that because he was like, oh, I got to include Connie in this scene. Oh, what would I say? Because I haven't drawn his character in ages. He goes back. He's like, oh, that's right. I made him a dumbass.
Oh, what is it? What is it about Connie we remember? Oh, he's dumb. What would a dumb?
He's dumb. That's right. Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. We'll make him do something stupid here and headstrong.
Yep. Exactly.
Poor
Point out
Connie.
the obvious and then swear. Oops. My question is why Zeke didn't have the Mule Titan just eat Reiner, because Reiner has failed twice now, and he said, if you fail again, we're going to give the armor to someone else.
Well, I don't know if the mule is who you would want to give that power to. I don't think you would.
I mean, maybe he was just like threatening him for like, when we get home, I'm gonna beat your ass kind of thing.
Wait till your father gets home, young man.
Yeah. Because like I'm sure he's like, when this is all over,
Reiner ate his dad.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
okay.
It might be that, but I mean, I think it would be better just to eat him now and have a fully fledged Titan shifter than to risk having him fall back into enemy hands again.
I mean, if Zeke was ready for round 2 and just wanted to go right then sure, but
he's still missing 2 arms.
Dude, I think who even knows what kind of fucked up shit he did to that Mule Titan?
So
yeah, what the fuck is wrong with his face?
It's clearly not normal. So I mean, who knows? Like, wild.
He looks like the Mule Titan looks like Lenny Kong. Blanky Kong. That's what I'm thinking of.
Blanky. I thought you were going to say Sarah Jessica Parker.
Because his face is all fucked up.
Okay, so since we're talking about Monkey Trouble, Zeke, the man himself, I haven't mentioned this before, but by far my favorite part of the chapter out of all this is that this pretty much all but confirms that him and Grisha are related, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, obviously it's not 100% confirmed, but I mean, like, it's pretty obvious what they're doing.
They drew their faces right next to each other.
Yeah, and like identical.
It's implied pretty hard. It'd be hard to miss, I think.
I'm pretty stoked that that's coming true because theory confirmed. But do you think it's like brother, dad, uncle? What's Aaron's relation to him? Nephew? Son?
I'm more interested in which one of them is lying.
Yeah, right. I like to think that Grisha's the bad guy, but who knows?
Because Zeke is claiming that Aaron's a victim of Grisha's manipulation, but
which would be cool.
Do we believe Zeke or do we believe Grisha? Or do we believe in...
When the Rices said it, we didn't believe him, and then that came true, so...
Yeah.
You sold me. I'll believe Grisha. No, sorry, Zeke.
So at the end of the series, we look back and we see that Grisha leaving at the beginning of the story was like the big bad and left right then. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
It's like It's like that TV trope for murder mysteries where the first person you see is always the one who did it. You know what I
mean? Yeah, right.
I have a kind of a theory, I think. Do you remember when I think it was Reiner who said, like a while back, that Aaron was the worst person ever to have the coordinate ability?
Yeah.
I think that what he meant by that was that they needed to take extra precautions with taking him back because Zeke had some relation to him. And so Zeke was being extra careful saying like you can't harm him, or like you have to be able to like I don't know, take extra care in a way that if anyone else had the coordinate, then Zeke would just automatically command them and be like, oh, just any means necessary, just fucking like take him and like bring whoever has the ability back.
Bring him back alive, make sure.
RRBA knew the whole time that
Probably.
that Aaron was related to him?
That's probably.
I think so.
That's
if
probably.
if they knew who Grisha Yeager was, which again, is that his like actual name from outside the walls, or did he just make that up when he got here?
That could be bullshit. We don't know.
Well, the real question is, if that happened, then why the hell wasn't Aaron the number one suspect as soon as they met him in the boot camp? Because, Grisha Yeager, Aaron Yeager. Oh, the son of the guy that fled from us is here. I wonder if he might have the coordinate.
Well, think of it this way: they had no suspicion that that he'd be a shifter at all, because he didn't even know.
Then you kidnap Aaron and hold him ransom until Grisha comes out and hands over the coordinate.
Was to kidnap him.
Yeah.
I mean, like right at the beginning.
Until after they found out that he was a shifter, though.
Like,
they were just dumbasses.
I think as soon as according to the theory that we're presenting here, they would have decided they needed to go after him immediately as soon as they discovered what his name was in training, which I think is possible.
Well, not necessarily.
No, they helped him train instead. They taught him how to use the 3DMG. So I don't really think that's a thing.
Well, I mean,
that they knew ahead of time.
The shifters, they didn't consider him a threat at the time, which is why they didn't really see any harm in training him.
Yeah, they had no reason to believe that.
All right.
Well, he should have been their number one threat. He's related to their worst enemy, the people that person that they came here hunting for.
They didn't know. They didn't know he was a shifter, and then they hadn't really put a plan together to take him out at the time. You know what I mean?
Well, regardless if he's a shifter or not, you still want to do something to.
Yeah, but it would have taken.
If not to get him, then to get the dad's attention.
It would have taken coordination that they hadn't put together yet. Because
I think we should go back. I think we should go back a few steps. Because the one thing we know for sure is, I guess we don't really know for sure how to say it, but basically it's heavily implied that Grisha stole the coordinate, right? And that's how it got. Oh no, because he got it from the Rices, didn't he?
Yeah, he got it from the Rices.
Okay, so then in that case that works out, because then Monkey Trouble and RBA had no reason to know that Grisha ever had the coordinate in the first place, that the coordinate was in his line. So there was no reason to suspect Aaron of having that, or even being a shifter for that matter. The only thing that the name would have mentioned would kind of pique their interest, because if they realized that he was, related to Monkey Trouble, that'd be very interesting. And again, we look at their relationship now, RBA to Monkey Trouble, and it seems like they're not enemies. I don't know if it looks like they're allies to some degree.
He's their
if not very strenuous, sure. Strenuous relationship, but. That you got to wonder how that would play into it too, because if they are viewing him favorably, how does that view his potential relative, I guess, within the walls, how they would proceed forward with that. Probably a lot of suspicion, I'm sure. Yeah, no, I think it's a really cool seemingly revelation.
Yeah, of course I agree that Zeke had the most interesting part in this chapter, because the rest of it, everything else that happened in this chapter we already knew was going to happen coming into it, right?
Well, I didn't know that the big question at the end was gonna, because the way I saw it is that, like I said earlier, we had these two separate storylines of Irwin, is he gonna die, is he gonna live, is he gonna get the serum, and then we had the new one with Armin just pop up last chapter, and I guess up until that point I didn't think they were gonna go together, but I just assumed that Irwin was not gonna make it back from outside the walls. I thought that was a bit too much of a stretch, but apparently not. I guess I was wrong about that.
I think, if anything, we're kind of dragging our feet here a little bit on this point of choosing between Armin and Irwin, because we've already had this set up in chapters before this one. It's like there was no surprise coming into this chapter. We were kind of coming into this chapter hoping this would have been resolved by now, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So that clearly makes the stuff with Zeke and Berthold and Reiner and all that stuff at least the newest and the most interesting material for this chapter. I guess other than Hanji, because Hanji getting an eye patch is cool.
Pretty badass.
It's cool.
Pirate cool. Hanji.
Yeah. I like that image for her much better.
I like that in that very first panel, or no, second or third page, that first shot of Armin being burnt, he still has his pants on.
Oh yeah, those are very,
Right?
Keep power comes from his leather pants.
PG-13, Isayama.
Yeah.
So,
I know, right? Those are tough pants. Goddamn.
Is Levi on fire, or what's going on there?
It looks like he's just really, really burnt. Like his face is just like sloughing off.
Who,
just
Levi?
Like in any shot he's in.
You said Levi.
Yeah, there's a panel. The panel where Zeke looks up at the wall and Levi's standing on it, and it looks like there's steam coming off of him or something.
Oh, you know what? I bet it's just like hot Titan blood.
Yeah, it's the Titan blood evaporating.
Oh, that's kind of I thought that's too bad. I thought his face was melting.
Yeah, because
No.
Kind of badass.
Yeah, because there's a panel.
Probably slightly because of the hot Titan blood, but other than that, no.
There's a panel right after that shows a line of Titans that are melting still, showing how Levi crossed the plane to get
How
to the
badass he is.
Yeah, took out how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I think there were 24 Titans in total in the ring, if I remember correctly.
This guy,
that's to the point where it's not even cool. It's just okay, that's kind of lame.
Fuck, it's
like
right. It's fucking
came out
stupid.
with the blade and a half.
Right? It's it'd be cool if it was oh man, 3 or 4 in a row. That's pretty sick. 24. It's okay, this is a fucking.
This guy's fucking showing off now.
Well, he killed 12 to get to Zeke, and then he killed the other 12 after.
How does he have any gas left? I don't understand that.
He didn't. He used the very last dregs of it to get onto the roof.
Yeah, I like that this is the chapter where all the characters go, damn, I just now ran out of gas. How about that?
Oh, resources are a thing. That's right.
That's convenient.
We haven't brought that up since Trost.
See, I like that in Trost. I like how that was a part of the dynamic. You know how oh shit, they all ran out of gas because they're idiots.
It added realism to it. It made it a little more accountable, and it made it a little more.
That whole scene, in the beginning, where they're going to get the gas back, and the whole retake that was really cool.
It would seem smart, I guess.
Yeah.
It seemed like
I guess
it was a detail. It made you think that it was world building, and you were.
Yeah, and it was just it was a fun, cool little introduction to warfare for them, and obviously not fun, cool in that way, but for us, the reader.
Yeah,
it was a cool thing.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously not fun for them.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess to be fair, we're not giving enough credit to assume that after this point, so much time down the road, they would have figured out how to ration their gas better. So
I still think this is way too convenient after all the shit that we've seen over the last couple of chapters.
Yeah, maybe if somebody ran out first, a couple guys ran out last chapter, I could buy it.
And maybe if one person had run out instead of none.
Well, it looks like some of them still have a little bit. They're just starting to run out.
It's way too.
I'm being way too lenient here. Yeah. It sucks. It's awful. Burn it.
Bundy's out. Levi's out. Mikasa's out. Armin. Armin. He was surrounded in gas. That's the issue. Aaron's probably pretty full because he's been in Titan form the whole time. John's almost out. Yeah.
Almost.
What kind of loot do you think Armin drops?
Hmm?
He got killed. What kind of loot do you think you'd find?
Sick ass wig.
I'd say probably purple quality at least. because he's a main character, right? It's at least purple quality.
I mean, we got to define the qualities here because in TF2, purple quality is the second lowest.
I'm thinking second highest. I'm thinking gold is the highest.
Purple's usually a pretty good color.
Yeah.
Purple's almost
so we're going by Overwatch rating then.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just going by purple being good.
Purple's usually pretty good. He's not blue. It's at least purple.
Blue's pretty good.
It's a fire enchanted sword.
I think he's a dark brown more than anything.
Dark brown. God, what would that's dark brown would be like a shit tier color.
I was gonna say I would have said dark red more, but I mean I guess dark brown works. Maybe black. Black might be
red as a loot indicator.
We're not talking about loot.
No,
we're talking about
like his shard barred body.
Right, okay.
That took you way too long, still.
Yes.
Well, I missed part of it. That's why. Okay, so still speaking about Levi here, I love Zeke saying that he just looks up at him and he calls him a damn monster. Like even Zeke, even our current big bad is like this guy.
That's kind of slap in the face irony. That's like, all right, we get it. It's ironic.
Yeah.
Well, then he also just calls out Reiner's plot armor at the very end.
Yeah, that was good too. I like that.
Hang a lampshade on it. We're good.
I like that. Damn, Reiner, you're pretty lucky, aren't you? Did you know that?
Yep. Lampshade hung. Move on.
I'm not even that oh man, I'm not even that mad about Reiner surviving. Although I would definitely love for him to die any day now. But just the fact that he got saved by the bipedal Titan again in the last chapter. How Zeke,
Bipedal Titan?
The mule.
Bipedal.
Well, no, but that means they're walking on two legs.
Oh, never mind then. I don't know what the phrase is. The mule. I'll just call him the mule Titan.
Yeah.
How he got
quadruped.
He got saved by him, and then Zeke got saved by him. It's like, all right, it's using the same, cliche trope, just getting saved by the henchman over and over again. I would have liked for him to have been saved a little differently. I don't know. That's just me, though.
Man,
that Titan is efficient. High bar set.
For Reiner to still be alive, there must be something fucking important about him. to keep him around this long.
I mean, he had a letter buried in his chest. What else there was in there?
Yeah, by the way,
X-ray machine.
Now that he handed off the letter, this would have been the good time for him to die, but him still being alive...
We've still got the mystery of why his arm was bandaged.
Why is he... Him still being alive must mean that he's still important somehow, and I don't have the foggiest fucking idea how that's possible. Seeing...
Information.
From him, though, when we still have Zeke... And Zeke...
He already declined to give any...
As long as he's alive, he's still going to be the wild card because we know he's just fucking unstable.
I want the next dialogue from Reiner to say, "Please let me die."
I guarantee you, he's alive because that mental shit's going to still come into play, and he's going to do something crazy and unpredictable at like the wrong moment for somebody. As a result,
maybe he'll be back in the village.
Gonna get fucked up somewhere.
Maybe he'll be in the village and he'll switch to soldier mode. They'll go.
Well,
damn, I'm behind enemy lines. I better not say anything.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
But I think so. I think it'll be like some split-second decision or just something that goes wrong. You know, he snaps into the wrong thing and makes a bad decision. And
honestly, right now that you mention that, though, like they did kind of set that up with how he forgot like mid-stride when he woke up. He was like, "Where am I? Like, I don't remember anything besides
something this just pop out of the blue is gonna happen. Something's gonna snap and something weird.
Yeah, I think you're actually probably right on that.
I guess I'm just still salty because between Bertholdt and Reiner, God fucking damn it, Bertholdt is better in pretty much every category than Reiner.
Not in living.
Yeah. Well, I guess actually they're both still alive.
Well, Bertholdt's technically still alive. Yeah.
Bertholdt's technically doing better. Well, I guess not really.
I'm still curious about
one's regenerating, the other's basically got his head half sliced off.
I forgot about that part.
I'm still curious about whether or not when Bertholdt's fully functional again, whether or not he's going to crystallize.
Doubtful.
Takes a lot of energy. I wonder if he can do it with no limbs.
Well, that's what I mean. Once he's gotten his limbs back and he's healed a lot.
It'd be a much more efficient, like space-efficient crystal if he had no limbs.
Well...
if he's just like a torso, he just went straight into it. Yeah.
He's just like a little Bertholdt nugget right now.
I mean, Annie still had her limbs, and she wasn't beaten up that badly.
Did you see how much wasted space is in that crystal, though? Like, try stacking like you know what I mean? Like shelving a bunch of those? No way.
Putting shifter corpses in crystals.
You gotta organize them. You gotta file them. Anyway, we totally just completely glossed over this.
Still are there minerals.
Let's go back to the letter, because that's obviously going to be pretty huge here.
Yeah. We didn't.
Speculation caps on now, because what do you think? What's in the letter?
Krista, I love you. I'm sorry. We cannot be together. I am sacrificing myself for the greater good. You should come join the blue team.
You really think it's that straightforward?
Pretty much.
Oh, man, I'd be disappointed.
Maybe explaining her origins.
I hope it's like the Da Vinci Code.
My expectation is that Ymir is trying to accomplish some sort of specific goal, and she needs the story's help to be able to do it. So she's going to be...
That bitch is dead.
So Ymir is going to be targeting somebody. I don't know who it's going to be.
So the fact that she's not handing it to herself, are people taking this as a sign that she's essentially dead at this point? Like that's like
dead.
That's like the sign off.
I think that's the red herring. I don't think that's actually the case.
I don't think she's dead. I think she has a huge bit in the story still to play. There's no way they just kill her off screen.
There's so much stuff that she has to explain, or there's so much shit that we don't know about her. I don't think there's any.
If we have this bullshit situation where we're picking between like Armin and Erwin, we can definitely have that.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's no way in hell Ymir's dead. There's no way.
No, I agree with that.
She's trying to accomplish something, and she can't do it in the presence of other people.
Or I should phrase it this way: I don't believe that it's an immediate death flag.
No, not at all. I mean, it would scare some folks, but thinking about what she still has left to offer, there's no way she's already gone. You know what I mean?
I can't think of what else would be. I mean, obviously, barring the obvious, the Occam's razor example of save yourself, etc., etc. I can't imagine what would be in that letter that'd have real importance, because obviously we're gonna see it next chapter, hopefully.
I mean, the other option, I guess, is that Ymir wrote the letter to Historia to explain everything that we wanted to know about her. And
just fill with plot. That'd be great.
Just exposition the shit out of her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It probably is. It's probably exposition mixed with rest in peace.
No, you just said it's a farewell letter. I'm sacrificing myself. Goodbye.
Oh, did I not include that? I meant to include that. Yeah, it's probably some explanation as well.
Part, yeah.
You know what? The most important part to me is that she's dead. So.
Well, there you go. I
absolutely think
think she's not dead. But
yeah, I still agree with that. That's for sure.
Each their own.
There's no way. We haven't. How long has it been since we've seen her? When was the last time we seen her?
Are we counting the leaf or no?
No.
Then 50.
Jesus.
Or 50 to 52, one of those two.
That's
right.
like 30. What?
Somewhere in that
No.
range.
No, there's no way. Is that really true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, when's the last time we saw Annie?
I don't know. Fucking
38. Or no, 34.
Yeah.
a million years
34.
ago.
But.
Okay, there you go. Really? Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have gone more time without Annie than we have with her. Same applies to Ymir.
I can't believe we're already on 83 though.
It's surprising.
It's not long ago.
That what you just said, Zach, is kind of amazing considering those are two of the best characters in the show. Is that they've had more time off screen than on.
Yeah.
That still amazes me. I'm sorry. I can't get over that.
Are you not satisfied with Mikasa's insane development? Just
Honestly,
thrilling
now.
Man,
What more does
I wish-
Ishiyama need to do?
She had so
God,
much development in this chapter, didn't she? She moved and she talked to somebody, and then she moved again, and she
Hold
had
her
she
sword
had-
on her commanding officer.
She had that tear in her eye, right? That means something.
That's a pretty big deal. I mean, compared to what we've gotten so far, that's expressing a lot of emotion.
Yeah. I think we're being assholes, but.
Well, we are. I mean, but
This is
You're just business as usual when it comes to Mikasa.
This is the first time in forever we've seen Mikasa have some kind of emotion. It would have been nice to know what the emotion was supposed to reflect, but it's
Ackerman exposition next chapter.
Here.
But,
Are you ready for that? Still, or just a solid chapter of just exposition
fucking kill
on nothing
me.
but Ackerman powers?
Yeah, I
I
think.
don't know.
I think
Flashbacks everywhere. How Levi
Ackerman
and everyone
flashback.
first met.
when we
Redo.
get to the Ackerman parts where they exposition us with that shit, I think I'm gonna use that as my vacation day from the podcast.
Follow me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the Ackermans also have mind wipe powers,
Whew.
Yep.
which is why they're immune to it.
Let's make
by
that
the
2
way.
months vacation.
So, diverging a little bit. Every time I look at that last shot of Berthold, I feel like I've seen it before in like some other IP. I don't know what it reminds me of though.
Which one?
The one with Berthold with his eyes closed right below Crispy Armin and
Man,
Dead
that
Erwin.
could be anything.
That seems like a very common pose. Like
That's
Right,
like,
but it's always or almost always symbolizing something.
yeah. Usually you zoom
feet?
in that close on someone's
Feet?
face with their eyes closed because they're about to pop them open.
That's what it is. Yeah, I'm thinking of Armin from the Fluid of Freiheit opening.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
we solved that
The
mystery.
part in the opening where it zooms in on Armin's face like that, and then he opens his eyes, and then all
this
the
is Attack
candles
on
go
Titan.
out.
Holy shit!
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. I gotcha.
I was kind of missed that there.
Yeah. Okay. So
And then another part, real quick. First page, bottom right panel. Eren coming around the corner like that is the same pose and facial expression as when that Kawaii Titan ate Mina back in Trost.
poor
Dang,
Mina.
that's a pretty good catch.
I was like, where did I see that? Oh, yeah.
He's looking real sleuthy there.
Yeah.
Bit devious. I'm not liking that
Real
look.
creepy.
He's like, I got my eyes on you, bud.
And why the hell is he wearing a scarf? It looks like...
Well, remember, because that's the one he gives to.
I know that's what he gives to her, but it looks like it's such heavy clothing.
Maybe he's just Maybe he's just sensitive at his neck.
Maybe.
So something else that was cool I thought about this chapter was seeing that Hanji got to retake her position as the chief torturer, the chief interrogator.
Yeah, she's a bit twisted, right?
She enjoys that too much.
We haven't seen her do that since she interrogated Sanas, I believe.
Dude, her and Zachary are like on the same page.
I was just going to say, she's going to get married to Zachary at the end of this.
Well, I was gonna say trading notes. That maybe getting married is a different. is a different direction.
Dude, imagine the honeymoon.
No.
Yeah, I'll pass.
I refuse.
I'll not do that.
That seems like a bad idea. Okay,
Banner
so
of that is going to exist by the end of the week, I guarantee it.
I think arguably, I think the best panel or the most visually interesting panel from this chapter was Eren and Levi being face to face, I guess, towards the end of the chapter. I'm thinking about how that's going to look in the anime, and that's going to turn out to be pretty amazing, I think, because that looks like you know how when you see a boxing match or you see a MMA match, the two go to the middle of the ring and they're like face to face with each other, and you know they do whatever they do.
The face off.
Yeah, the face off. seeing Eren being like right up on Levi's face, I think that's really interesting to me. Seeing how Eren's reacting to Levi.
If you kind of blur your eyes a bit,
when Shadis headbutted the kids.
If you blur your eyes, they look exactly the same. Is that where you're going?
I was gonna say, if you blur your eyes a bit, it looks like it's one solid face.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like one eye's all like giant and messed up, and the other one's like all weird. So it's like,
yeah, I was looking at that earlier.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing to take away from it.
No, it is for sure.
Oh yeah, with the eye with like the veins underneath, kind of looks like Sugo from the end of the first season of SAO. I know you all hate that, but
I don't hate it. I've just never seen it.
He gets basically exposed to pain more intense than you would ever be able to find in the real world, and it causes real damage to him.
Is it called E-pain? No, virtual
it's
pain.
Like they're in a video game and they set the pain nullifier to 0, and he gets a sword stabbed through his face, basically.
Epic pain.
And then when you come back to him in the real world, his eye looks like Eren's right eye there.
Someone out there likes that reference, just not any of us.
I just don't know it is the problem.
Never mind.
Yeah.
But no, the panel above where Eren's getting right in Levi's face does look like, to me, like Shadis headbutting the trainees.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's a good callback. That is what that looks like.
I've actually been questioning myself every time I look at that. Is he actually like headbutting him there, or?
That's getting up with his grill real close.
Kind of wish he was headbutting him. Like the more intense you can make that appear, the better.
I bet it's just like he basically is like, touching him. He's like, when you get all like real intense and like somebody gets like real intense.
Yeah.
Fork red.
The fuck you just say about Armin, you little bitch?
Oh man. But no, that's cool that you pointed that out with the faces, because that means we've got two different like big face parallels. You know what I mean? We got like obviously the Zeke and Grisha.
Yeah,
face
that's true.
And then we got the Eren and Levi one, which is kind of neat. I don't think it really means anything between the two of them, but it's just cool. And then I guess below you've got the little trifecta: Erwin, Arwen, and Bert.
My next question was going to be how we think that that conversation's going to play out in the next chapter between Eren and Levi, because Eren's going to be super pissed at Levi for trying to give the serum to Erwin.
Give Armin the serum, asshole! You already said you would! No, Erwin's better for humanity. Mikasa then pulls her sword up. She says, give Armin the serum! And Levi says, are you disrespecting your commanding officer? And something.
Well,
and then Erwin opens his eyes and says, give Armin the serum!
That's probably the first 15 to 20 pages right there.
Honestly. I mean, I would not be surprised if you
No, the first 15 to 20 pages is a flashback. The next 15 to 20 is what I just said. And then, boom, chapter ends, nothing has happened.
Then they give us some sort of tease to the end of the chapter, and then we move on.
Not to take us back to the decision, about like, what should they pick? But, credit to Eren. It is very interesting that it's not, his argument is not empty, because it's not just an emotional thing where it's like, he's my friend, you should save him. It's like, he's got a pretty good argument that Armin's the right one to be, you know what I mean? Like, restored in charge. So it's not for Levi, it's not just, a logical decision of pick the right thing to do versus the emotional thing to do. It's oh man, they're both like actually pretty good decisions here.
Literally every big strategic insight we've had in this series has not been Erwin, it's been Armin.
Well, I was getting ready to say, I think that's kind of funny that the reaction to this decision for the most part has been, we want Erwin back because we believe in Erwin more than we believe in Armin, even though Armin's the one who gets shit done, like, thinking-wise.
Can we clarify right now then, like, okay, again, I think we established this earlier, but just for clarity here, if you're in his position, Levi's position, who do you bring back? Just Levi or Armin? I mean, Erwin or Armin?
For me, it's Armin.
Okay, for me, it's Armin as well. Zach said
If
Erwin.
you're Levi, it's Erwin because emotions.
Oh, yeah, I mean, character-wise, yeah, it's probably Erwin.
If you're in his
shoes. But if it's us, who do you pick?
Well, he just said it. You are.
Like, who do you want, Erwin? Who do you think Levi should bring back in this situation?
Armin. I think
he should bring Armin. I think that's the right decision.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
And what about you, Scotty?
Yeah, I mean, Armin, like you said, the potential and the future. I would say Armin, I guess.
I guess there's just the implication. I think there's an implication that people don't expect Armin to be able to do the same job that Erwin does, and I don't think that's true. And I mean, I feel like Armin has the capability to actually step into Erwin's shoes now.
I will say, though, that Erwin is undoubtedly the more capable fighter than Armin. Yeah. For sure.
Armin is good at strategy and thinking. Erwin is good at
strategy.
Zerg rushing shit.
You know what? Erwin's good at getting people killed.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. His track record isn't really that great.
Armin's good at figuring out how to figure out impossible shit.
Isn't he called the Butcher at some point, like as his nickname?
Yeah, he's the sacrificer. He's the, you know.
What a guy.
Yeah.
Imagine the political cartoons that would exist in this universe.
They suck.
They probably do. Yeah. Because they've been shit.
I saw them. It was those guys Hanji was making with the printing press. They're like, yeah.
All right, imagine them now.
They've probably been shit until Demo took over. Once Demo took over, man, it got great.
Dude, yeah, shit was on lockdown after that.
Yeah.
You mean Flagel?
Flagel, yeah,
Whatever.
that's who I meant.
Yeah.
I can't wait for season 2 to get to that point where I get to look at the subreddit and go, does anybody fucking care?
I can't wait to see the meltdown of people. Where is this arc going? There's like,
where are the Titans?
There's Attack on Titan, not Attack on Trump.
God, fucking that part of the
Same
manga
thing.
all over again. That's gonna be great. I can't
That's
wait.
pretty funny. So to bring us back to the discussion we were having, I guess a different perspective. Let's tackle this from a different angle and say, all right, on a much more short-term basis. So let's not think of the long-term benefits of choosing between Erwin and Armin. Immediate future, which one is better as a Titan shifter?
As a shifter, I still think Armin.
Yeah.
Because I guess that kind of negates the physical differences, that they have as regular people.
Totally negates the combat aspect of it.
But even with that said,
do you think?
Yeah.
Erwin would still be a better fighter in Titan form, assuming that he's better overall.
Yeah.
Just like you notice how Aaron kicked Reiner's ass because he learned all the judo flips and shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I just Armin as a shifter, I think it would be smarter about how to use his Titan form. You know what I mean? Like Erwin would be good at the movements and he would have the muscle memory and he'd be able
Erwin
to
seems like he'd be more emotionally driven.
Yeah, he'd be able to execute, he'd have better precision, but I think Armin would have better techniques as far as thinking about how to use the powers better.
Yeah, and I feel like though Armin or what was I going to say? Oh yeah, though Armin makes the big smart decisions, Erwin is still the one calling the shots behind the scenes. So it'd be better to have Armin out there as the Titan than the one who needs to be making the decisions. Or in this case, it'd be Hanji, I guess, since everyone's going to be dead. But at the end of the day, I can't really see Armin as a Titan shifter because this is something I have to remember. Isayama did do that spoof of Titan shifters that were never actually going to be a thing, and Armin was in them. So
he was, but I don't trust Isayama.
I don't think that's the end all be all.
I just don't trust Isayama anymore. I don't trust him with anything. I don't believe anything he says. I can't believe anything he's his implications, the red herrings he throws I can't believe him for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even gonna say that. That's dumb. I was gonna say that.
Let's say it anyway.
I'm not gonna say it, but let's say it anyways.
For all we know, at the end of the series, fucking Historia could be a shifter.
Huh. Wouldn't that be a twist?
I mean, she was pretty close to being one anyways.
She was.
She's a pretty shitty shifter then.
Yes, yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, Erwin's about to be a Titan shifter either way. He's about to shift from being alive to dead.
Have the last chapter up and could see Armin's actual fall if he was, if there's a way he's alive after that?
Wind gusts.
Because what I mean is I don't have it in front of me, so I'm only seeing, as he's on the roof this chapter.
Right,
I'd like to
pull it up.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way I could see him surviving a 50-meter fall onto a stone roof while totally baked, and not the ice cream kind.
What? What did he just say?
A Ben & Jerry's flavor is totally baked.
Oh, yeah. What?
So, I don't know. I feel like there isn't one. I was just going to leave that there, and someone was going to get the joke and chuckle, but you just had to make me explain the joke.
Oh,
Thanks,
okay.
guys.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Whoever was talking.
Chapter link?
Yeah. It's only the shitty Photoshop that was put together by Nico, but it's better than nothing. I mean, it's not like Crunchyroll's non-premium. It isn't even non-premium this month.
Is this like an actual like physical scan?
This is the original
like
Korean scan.
Okay, I was gonna say it looks like it was photocopied.
No, the original RAWs are always this dark for some reason.
Look at this photocopied.
This went through a Xerox.
That's
Yeah, right. The fax
Is that
is
even a
someone
thing
else.
anymore?
Xerox works.
Oh, yeah.
You're damn right it is. I have to
All the
deal
sound
with that
effects
shit
in
every
Korean.
day. Fucking Xerox and they're a pain in the ass.
Goddamn Xerox.
Fucking printers. Hate
Okay.
I mean, they show Arm getting flung away from Berthold, and then they show him on the roof.
Yeah, he's just magically resting there. I guess it's what the hell.
I mean,
No,
look
he
at
does.
he
He
landed
does.
right on the corner of the roof too, so his back would just be shattered by that.
Dude, god damn it.
Like he didn't put him on the side of the roof; he is right on that corner.
Unforgivable.
I wonder what the pattern is. I wonder what the pattern is for how many chapters go by where something happens where we want to call shenanigans on something. It seems like
Every chapter.
It seems like
Literally
it's
every
getting-
chapter.
It seems like it's getting
To
pretty
be fair,
common. It's getting
If
pretty
you,
In
common.
what way?
if you dig deep enough, you can nitpick anything. I mean, we are sitting here like discussing this in far more detail than we really should, but here we are.
It's our job, though. That's what we're here for.
Well, yeah. But yeah, you peel back the layers, and then eventually you're gonna find some flaws. I think that's
Yeah.
inevitable.
I guess. It just seems like it's been happening more and more frequently lately.
I think the real trick is
It's because we've
How
had
you-
much more action recently, which
What you
lends
do with
itself
those
to
flaws.
more bullshit.
it's like you can let them affect the story and like ruin it for you, or you can just kind of roll the punches and just feel like, yeah, it's like I said, any story you nitpick enough, you're gonna find these inconsistencies and problems.
I mean,
And it's like at a certain point, you're just like, it's like it sucks, and it's fun to point them out, which is why we do it.
I
but
mean,
it's just
depending
it's
on
with
your
baseball.
personal standards too, though, right? I don't think
it's like
we all-
even like even the best works of all time. You dig deep enough, you're gonna find some problems.
I mean, there should still
Yeah.
be some kind of standard or quality that you would associate with this, considering how much investment we've put into it. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's fair, which is why we're giving, I think, due criticism, but also sometimes a bit unfair, sometimes fair. It's a mix of both.
I think most of the unfair is us jumping to conclusions and being totally wrong.
You always jump to conclusions.
We're
We're-
who doesn't love it to jump
Where
to
we're like,
conclusions?
oh, this is dumb plot armor, this is some kind of ass pull, or this is, this or that. That stuff's kind of unfair, but at the same time, man, the implications sometimes are really bad. Mind wipes.
Oh yeah, my wife. Do we want to
There
start
we go.
thinking about moving on to questions?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to cover in this.
I'll be right back.
Do you see the quality of the box the serum is in?
It's
Yeah,
a
that
good
thing's like a
box.
bunker.
Yeah, it's very, very well protected. You know what I mean?
I was wondering how the hell Reiner got that damn letter in him and why he put it there instead of just putting it in his fucking pocket.
Like a normal person, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
if you're
gotta
what happens to your pockets if you're a shifter?
They stay the same. They come back out.
I'm thinking of it like a Incredible Hulk kind of thing, where he transforms and all his clothes like fly off, or like rip.
Yeah, but like he came out of his Titan form in all of his clothes.
That's kind of
Well,
weird, isn't it?
Not his shirt, actually.
Is that how that works? When a shifter comes back to human form, they're just totally in clothes and they're fine.
Yeah.
Have you not
completely.
seen Eren do it every single time? Bertolt came out of it wearing 3DMG once.
That's weird. Shouldn't the clothes like melt, or shouldn't they?
No. I mean, they should, but they don't.
That being said, the human inside should bake to death too, but they don't.
I mean, the human part of him can come back, but the clothing is just fabric.
Well, the human never goes away, though.
It grows like 15 times bigger than it originally was. Clothes don't. Shifter
Right, but
magic.
the human is still intact in the nape of the neck, though.
I don't understand how shifter magic works on clothing that's not designed for that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's simple. The Titan body grows around them, not.
Are we talking about a Hulk clothing situation?
Yes,
Yes,
that's exactly
that's
the reference I
literally
made.
the example he used.
That's exactly what I said. How the fuck does that work? How have we never talked about this before?
Stiller, I want you to include
Well-
this section.
I'm
No.
probably going
Remember,
to.
the Titan doesn't grow out of them; it grows around them.
Right, that's what I was just about to
This is
say.
why they have the clothes. You can keep your 3D maneuver gear on. Well,
Right,
you
but
know,
Stiller was saying how the hell does that happen, and I don't know.
I mean, how the hell does the transformation happen? It doesn't make any sense if it grows out of you, because then it would just burst out of your skin, and you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
originally,
Oh my God.
what I said was, how do they go from being a Titan to a human and in clothes? You know what I mean?
The clothes never go away. The
so
human
the
never goes
Titan
away. They're
dissolves around them,
intact
and they're
in the
just
center of the nape.
Because remember, it looks like, as far as we can tell, it's just like attached to them bases. They're like arms, legs, and like eye sockets, like how it attaches them underneath. They're like face.
Yeah.
But it seems like the
I
rest
think
of
it
them are
gets
just
more
kinda, like,
attachments
hanging
as
in
they
there.
get more absorbed into the body, which is probably why Reiner and Bertolt were both kind of like Titan-based.
Exactly.
So I think Zach just explained it, and I was being stupid because the person is just existing inside the nape, and they're still clothed in the nape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a vessel.
How many times have we seen that?
We've
We've seen that imagery hundreds of times, probably.
I don't know. I guess I expected that to be mentioned at least at one point. I don't know why I was expecting someone to have mentioned that clothing thing before. I guess nobody in the attack.
I mean, now that I think about it, like they did mention it the first time that Eren came out of his Titan. His outer layer of clothing was melted away, but his inners were still there.
Well, I thought that was because the stomach acid or whatever. But anyway, no, I think it's just because it was a misconception on your part, Stiller, because since we all assumed that way from the start, there was no reason to suspect that it would ever have to rip.
Yeah. No one, I guess. I mean, I'm thinking of like Terminator 2, or like the Terminator series in general, I guess, and how they pop from place
time
to
travel,
place.
etc., etc.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to bring time travel into this.
No, we sure fucking don't.
I mean, good.
That would be bad. Okay. Anyway, question time. We're finished talking about Chapter 83. We're ready to talk about the questions you guys submitted. We don't have a lot of questions because we recorded early this month, which is rare. Very, very rare.
Usually it's, let's push back a week until someone can be here. Oh, let's push back a week until someone can be here. Oh, Zach's not going to be here. Let's just record anyways.
Yeah, let's push the date back until we're into the next month.
Solid strategy.
Fucking, yeah.
Oh, 84's out? Oh, shit, we should probably record 83.
Yeah, we probably should. God,
Not this time.
sucks.
Not this time.
It's been a while since we've done that, thankfully. It's been a couple months. A few. Anyway, this is the Chapter 83 questions, starting with the first one. Do you think Zeke and Reiner will try and get Annie out of her crystal now that they're down a Titan shifter? I don't think anything's changed in this chapter that would make it different than any other time that we've thought about this.
If anything, they're in less of a position to go do it because they're weaker as a force.
Plus, now Zeke is known, so he can't just slip in.
Well, we've seen... Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
But no, I'm saying, like, the Cervicor knows his face now, so he's going to be on every wanted poster in the nation. So it's not like before when he was just any other guy and he could just slip into walls like Reiner Bertolt did.
Yeah, well, I was also going to say, because we've seen before with Reiner Bert how long it takes, especially those injuries where you lose limbs, to recover. Both Zeke and Reiner have similar issues with that right now, so they're going to take relatively speaking, a long time to recover. So they definitely can't be doing anything in the immediate future here until they get out of Dodge. So maybe down the road. But again, I think
like Zeke almost had one of his arms back in a couple of the panels, but
so he's on his way.
I mean, I feel like at this point it would be a possible strategy from them, because he did say, okay, once we get the coordinate, then we can focus on getting Annie back. Well, now the coordinate's going to be protected by a colossal Titan, so they might want to even the playing field a bit.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan. I think the situation's gotten worse to the point where that's a hell of a risk. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it from the Survey Corps' perspective, because now you have to like plan for them not being in front of you anymore, trying to anticipate what their next move's going to be. What are they going to do next? Now that they've got their asses kicked by a fucking team of 10 people who didn't have any shifters on their team.
Well, and also to back that up.
Right, so now they've got another shifter on their team, so they need to get that back. They need to get that advantage back as soon as they can.
Oh, I don't think
before they take the fight to the homeland.
Remember, the fight they were just in, the only way they even had a chance, the shifters I am saying, the only reason they had a chance is because they had to lure them out into a position that they were vulnerable and work for their trap to spring. Actually planning and executing an escape attempt, an assault on the actual fortified place would be probably a bit more of a nightmare. And now that they're down a person, I don't see how they could do that right now.
Well, at this point, if they don't do it now, they're never going to be able to, because the humans are going to come for the shifter homeland.
As Monkey Trouble already pointed out, I don't think that's too much of a concern for him. I think he's already kind of written her off as a loss, because at this point, all you're going to do is a suicide attempt trying to get in there and save her. So if they need to hightail it back to the village, it's better they get back there sooner rather than later, so they can get everybody ready.
So they can regroup, yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe best case scenario is that Zeke regroups, and instead of having Reiner there, he sends Reiner off to sneak past the Survey Corps pursuing, and like heading to the village so that he can try and sneak in and get her.
Yeah.
That's probably best case scenario.
Or maybe right, Zach. Maybe they just go in and smash the doors down and grab her. I really don't know.
I mean, it might not be smash the doors. They can probably infiltrate to some extent. Like, they just find a section of unattended wall, climb over it, like how Zeke got in the first place, and then sneak into a heavily fortified underground compound and break her out under constant guard.
Reiner can do that.
I think it's a little more complicated than that.
Right, Reiner can totally do that.
Plus, transforming underground.
Yeah, we've already established that's a problem with Annie.
Well, why would we have any reason to suspect that Reiner would have any trouble doing anything successfully?
That's true.
Right, he's pretty invincible.
Oh, God.
There's the question of doing something successfully, which is probably a no with Reiner, and surviving doing something unsuccessfully, which is definitely a yes with Reiner.
Didn't we see, was it the last chapter we saw him trip and fall on his fucking face trying to move in his Titan form?
Oh, he had a bit of a problem with the whole legs and spears and all that.
So,
can you fault the guy for tripping a bit?
Yes!
Yeah, you try and walk with no legs, Stiller. Come on.
Yeah, right. But, okay, I think we're missing
Titans with Disabilities Act is still a thing.
The conclusion here is that Annie's fucked. Basically.
Well, do we even know if they have the ability to, like, decrystallize her?
Because I assume the shifters do, yes.
If they don't, I don't know who does.
Yeah, exactly. If the shifters don't, Annie is never getting out of that rock.
Maybe Yumiya, I don't know.
We've never actually seen anybody decrystallize anything, because the only crystals we've seen have either stayed there or been broken when they like punched it into stuff.
Ooh, here's a theory. What if, and this is like one of those out there outlandish theories, what if the note that Ymir gave to Historia is like, Annie's your only hope, here's how to decrystallize her, and boom, that's how they get her out. Could you imagine?
Why
That'd be pretty fucked up and interesting.
Why would Annie be the only hope?
Yeah,
for reasons we don't know.
Ymir knows something about her dad or some shit like that. I don't know. You know, they're all
Annie's family came from the walls, like Grisha came to the walls.
I mean, I guess
her family was an outsider. Ymir was.
Yeah, she can be convinced to be turned against them or something. I don't know.
Maybe
it's hard to tell.
Her dad is like the almighty Omega God King shifter, and she's the only one who could convince him to not destroy everything.
Her dad was King Fritz.
Yes, I think that's coherent.
So Annie's fucked. That's what we're getting at anyway.
No, she's not, because Berthold's
That's
dead.
a pretty cool theory, Scotty, because like that she's involved somehow with that.
Yeah, points to Scotty for putting some kind of theory together.
Hey. I'm keeping track of these points, by the way.
Points on the board for Scotty.
What are you at now, 2?
Gold stars.
I like 36.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I don't want to. That's not going to be my fucking job.
Are we counting negatives?
Go back to old podcasts and start counting that shit.
Yeah, we're going negative. -5 points for every time you talk about Connie being monkey trouble or some of that other shit.
No, that's why I have 36. I add +10 for every time I do that. So.
Yeah, but you're not the one giving yourself points. That's not how it works.
Yes, I am.
We have to give you the points.
Zach, are you like a negative 300 here?
Me? Why would I be?
Every time you miss a podcast, or a negative 100.
Every time you say something just incredibly inappropriate.
For every missed podcast.
In that case, I'd probably at -500. But
Double Jeopardy's gonna be real hard for you.
Fifth Amendment, bitches.
Goodness.
All right, next question. Next question is, why do you think Zeke didn't attack Eren before Levi showed up? We later see that the sacrifice of Bert is no problem for him.
Oh, I see. So why didn't he just grab Eren while he was like talking to?
Yeah, just grab him and run. Don't even talk to him. Just go.
I had to do the villain monologue.
I didn't even think about that.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. Why didn't he do that?
When do we see that the sacrifice of Bert is no problem for him? I don't think it's exactly no problem.
Well, maybe he could.
He's referring to what Zeke said about, it sucks to be you, Berthold. That's rough.
Oh, I know why.
Yeah, well, it sucks to be you, but there's nothing I can do to get you back.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't bother him that much, or he would have put up some kind of fight, right?
Yeah.
At this point, I'm starting to think Zeke might be a psychopath. We haven't seen a single emotion from him.
Well, he's already proven that he doesn't particularly care for Reiner or Bert, and he kind of, I got the impression that he viewed them as fairly expendable.
Well, considering he imposed his will on both of them and basically gave them marching orders, yeah.
Well, and was like, I'll take those powers back if you don't, I'll give them to someone else if you guys don't. Yeah, I think he's just like, they're a means to an end as far as he's concerned. Fair enough. I mean, fair play to them. They're not exactly doing great jobs on their own there.
Pawns in a scheme.
So my answer to that question is I don't think he was very... I don't think it was no problem to him, but he just didn't have a choice, so he had to deal with Bert being lost.
Maybe here's a question. Let's say he uses the quadruped guy to grab Eren and run away. What does he do with it then? He's still injured and can't necessarily shift yet, and Eren can definitely still shift. And
No, Eren can't shift. He just came out of his Titan.
Oh, he probably has a bit of a cooldown, but I bet his cooldown's smaller than...
his cooldown's way smaller, yes, but Eren still has 3D MG and stuff.
Even if he grabs him, he's still kind of... That doesn't mean he has him without the help of Reiner
just
Bert to
stuff
hold him
in a barrel.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
I wonder if Zeke had...
I think he just could, yeah.
If Zeke had taken Eren and the Survey Corps had given chase...
They would have been fucked.
Yeah, does Zeke have a chance to get away from them at that point?
Oh,
no,
Zeke,
like I said, I think
Zeke
Eren's
was getting away, 100%.
I think Eren is only hostage as long as he doesn't shift, and then as soon as he does, it's game over for them.
The Survey Corps didn't pursue him when he had Reiner, but if he had taken Eren and the Survey Corps, if somebody had still, like if Levi had seen that he'd taken Eren, of course they would have chased after him.
They had no gas and no horses.
That is a problem.
Yeah, they were out of resources. Not so convenient. Not so convenient anymore.
If you just gag Eren, he can't shift.
That's actually how they should have gone then, because that would have fixed.
Well, I mean, you'd have to keep. Yeah, I guess so.
But I mean, it's kind of hard to gag someone with no hands.
Well, again, it works out with the whole chopping limbs off, because the whole thing is, it's like there's really no way to stop somebody from, I guess, injuring themselves. So that's all it takes.
Well, no.
Unless you literally take their limbs off.
No, if you gag his mouth, then he can't.
As long as he has limbs, he can like scratch himself on something.
If the Mule Titan,
we've never seen someone do something that small to. Okay, never mind. Danny's thing.
Yeah, I mean that was like it's like anything. I mean, could do it.
If the Mule
Titan do it.
It seems like all it needs to do is just like draw blood, and that's like good enough.
If the Mule Titan hit a bump hard enough, I think he could have shifted.
Who knows? And I mean, like honestly, like where's the line drawn? Like the fact that he literally had just been, beaten the fuck out of in this fight, and then like assuming in the process of getting grabbed, he gets hurt somehow because he's not just gonna go limply. Is that gonna be an? That's an interesting question.
I mean, worst comes to worst, the Mule Titan bites off his limbs.
Let me put it this way: how long does the damage effect last? You know what I mean? Like if you cut yourself, like how long do you have to turn to a shifter before it doesn't work?
We've never seen non-instant.
Before it doesn't work?
Well, before you have to do it again.
How fresh does a wound have to be in order to trigger shifting?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, the longest gap we've seen is from when Reiner and Bertholdt were stabbed through the neck, or stabbed back in when they first revealed themselves, and that wasn't very long at all.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. Here's another interesting question. What if it's not a new cut, but it's just the cut continues to bleed? Like if you got cut and then half an hour later it was still bleeding the same one, could you just still shift then? If it's
it's the act of injuring yourself in the first place, not.
I don't know.
I think I'm having my period. Tighten the shift.
I think it's the exposed blood that was supposed to be the whole drawing blood was the key.
I think of it like a motion, like lighting, like striking a match. Like there's a trigger, there's a spark, there's some kind of instigator. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the blood that's the issue, it's the injury. Being
in a state of bleeding would be more passive, I think. Okay, so next question then. What are the chances of Eren chasing down Zeke with Shardman in tow to see if he can help Armin? He can help Armin if Levi decides to give the serum to Erwin. Do you think Eren would do something like that?
No, and Armin would be dead.
So what are the chances? I don't think Monkey Trouble is Zeke's gonna be like, oh yeah, let me no problem. Let me just whip him up real quick. It's a nice thought, but I don't know how that would play out, unfortunately.
I think it's less absurd though. I think it's less absurd than we might be giving it credit for, because that goes back to the previous question we just got, which was why did Zeke not immediately try and take Eren? And one of the reasons I think is because of he wanted to gain his trust. He wanted to actually help him. It seems, if we're believing Zeke is the good guy and Grisha actually did brainwash him and Eren. And going off that theory, maybe Eren's thinking he could play off of those good intentions of Zeke and say, hey, you want to prove to me that you're the good guy? Help me save my dying friend, and then I'll help you and come with you willingly. He could play that card. But I mean,
It's a good point. We kind of glossed over that entirely.
Help you save my dying friend how? By giving you the person that you had captured anyway?
Well, we've seen Monkey Trouble being able to transform Connie's village, apparently, so maybe he has more with him in his mule pack. I don't know. But that is an interesting thought, because we did kind of entirely gloss over the whole bit about, like, you're Eren Yeager, you're Grisha Yeager's son, and then the whole, like, I'm related to Grisha Yeager face comparison thing. So obviously there's some kind of relationship there, and you wonder how much Eren is going to potentially or unwillingly even exploit that.
I highly doubt that Eren would ever just willingly trot over the enemy and say, "Hey, take me."
No, I don't. I think you're right. I don't think it would happen like in that manner, but I think, especially looking down the road in the near future, I think that a situation could definitely arise where they have a conversation as opposed to a fight, and it may not be necessarily on the Survey Corps' best terms. I don't know.
It would be an act of desperation for sure.
But who knows? I mean, yeah, I don't think they'll. I think there's obviously there's a lot more to be revealed out of that relationship, but it definitely does a great job at throwing us right back into that gray area where we're like, oh boy, murky waters. Was Grisha the good guy? It was always kind of suspect from the beginning, with everything we knew. Now it's like, oh boy, no, we really don't know. And which is kind of cool from Eren's perspective, because then it gets really shaken up in his mind. It's like, oh my gosh, everything I thought was true is even more shaken up, which is always fun. So yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting to see down the road how that's gonna play out.
That makes it easy for us, though. Those of us who are already on Team Shifter.
Oh yeah.
Seeing this from Zeke, we're like, okay, that's fine. I totally believe you. That's fine.
I can get down with that.
Yeah. I had no reason to question that.
I mean, Monkey Trouble is MVP already.
Yeah, he is. No.
For sure.
Would you rather see Eren training Armin to be a shifter or Eren training Erwin?
Oh, Armin for sure.
Well,
I think
it'd be pretty funny to be training Erwin.
Kind of the reversal roles.
Who needs it more? I mean, theoretically, who would need it more? They both need
the same amount of training.
Armin would also get combat training.
This is kind of funny, because this is a callback to the same chapter we're talking about. At the beginning we had that whole flashback about he's like, Armin, you're a little bitch. Why aren't you standing up for yourself? And he's like, doing his thing because he's worthless. But that'd be interesting if that whole thing about, like, Armin, you need to stand up for yourself. I'm going to train you how segues into the whole point is Eren talking to Armin about, stand up for yourself. I'm going to teach you, I need to teach you how to defend yourself, how to do that. And he essentially comes in and starts, wants to train him, wants to give him that. But Armin doesn't really give him that opportunity to train him into somebody who will stand up for himself. And even through the scouts and the training of the 104th, that still kind of holds true, where Eren and Mikasa are still kind of looking out for him and standing up for him throughout. And then we transition to, potentially if Armin gets the serum, a montage of Eren finally getting to do that, to train Armin to stand up for self, to defend himself. And obviously we've seen Armin go through a fair amount of character development on his own in that regard, with the different scenes where he had to kill someone and do, a few other things, XYZ. But this would be a different case because we're going back to that point that we visited at the start of the chapter, where it's Eren specifically training him and kind of what that means in their relationship. So that would be an interesting direction to take, and I guess an interesting parallel between future events and the current flashback that we have, if that's the case.
Yeah, I agree that I think it should be Armin that gets trained, because Armin would need more guidance than Erwin would, as far as combat goes, and as far as being in the action part of it instead of just being the thought behind it. You know what I mean? Bringing the two together to create, the perfect opportunity, I guess, or the perfect mindset for the person to be in. Because Erwin, the only thing Erwin would need is to have control, to learn, the rules for it, and how to control it, and that kind of thing, what to look for, what not to. That's it. And, after that, Erwin's good to go. Armin would need much more, and I think the relationship between Eren and Armin is much better established, so that sort of what Ryan was saying, that it would work out better in terms of development for it to be between Eren and Armin instead of Eren and Erwin.
Actually, as a quick aside here, I kind of thought of this earlier, but I didn't mention it. This is only kind of semi-related because this really doesn't have any impact on the story, but I wonder if Isayama's thought far enough about, if age makes a difference in how fast you can learn these different skills. Because we saw, the whole montage and how long it took Eren to kind of master these skills that he had with the hardening and things like that. I wonder if it's, with those young pliable minds, if he's able to kind of take up those skills more quickly. And actually, that would harken back even to RBA. And, we always talk about, like, well, why'd they pick somebody so young? That topic always comes up. Why did they get people so young to get the mission? It's like, maybe because they were the best to actually learn, for all the reasons that we stated about why they're suited for the mission, because of their age and the infiltration, et cetera, et cetera.
That's the idea,
It'd be interesting to think if that was some kind of factor that played into it, too. It's like, oh, they're young, they're viable, they can learn all these skills quickly and adapt because they can, they're still an age where they can do that. Whereas somebody maybe older like Erwin, old dogs and new tricks, maybe you can't pick it up quite as fast, like learning a new language when you're older as opposed to younger.
Right.
So, again, this speculation probably has no bearing on the story, but I just thought it'd be interesting if he thought about that deep enough to put it in.
That's the motto, is if you get them while they're young and try and have them, grow up with it, it's easier for them to
do anything.
Yeah.
You make Zeke sound like a pedophile.
I tried my best to not
Are
do
you
that.
Aaron Yeager?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You're Dr. Yeager's son, aren't you? I've always wanted to meet you.
Okay. So, next
It's
question.
like that in your world, pedophiles all slurp and smack their lips.
That would be so unbearable.
It's just uncontrolled lust.
Can you imagine if the anime comes out and Zeke has like a lisp or something?
Oh my god.
That'd be pretty funny.
Can we just call him Jared and call it good?
Oh,
Fair
God.
play to him. It might not be it might not be quite as intimidating.
God, that would be such a buzzkill.
Or if he was mute, he's like, yeah, I can't actually talk.
Yeah, you just see him doing sign language.
Oh, sorry, different dialect.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if they had the shifters speak a different dialect of Japanese in the anime.
Just give him the.
That'd be a cool little thing to do.
Like, I know that Sasha speaks a different dialect when she's in her village, but
Have him speak Dothraki.
Yeah,
There we go.
That would be good, and also consistent with the lore.
Hell yeah.
Outside the walls, there's a roving plains.
Exactly. It fits really well with them too, right? That's a perfect crossover. Okay, last question. Is Erwin the father Levi never had?
I think that's a toss-up
That was
between Erwin and Kenny. Yeah. I think they both kind of fill that role in different ways. Because, they're both pretty shit fathers, let's be real. But
That's true.
Everyone who has the designation of father in this series is a fucking shit at being a father.
especially Grisha.
Erwin brought Levi the guidance and discipline that he needed in his life. So I guess with that respect, yeah, he's acted as a father figure, probably.
He literally lifted him from a life of crime.
Yeah, whereas
actually.
Kenny played a bit of a different role, more of his getting him to that point where he was before he met Levi was all because of Kenny. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like he made him what he is today, essentially. Like, I say he made him what he is to the point where he was, joined the Survey Corps. But so they both do, I think, fill that role, but in different ways.
I think it's a matter of perspective. Whether you see that as father figures and sort of role models and sort of guides for him it's certainly one way you could look at it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I look at it as just life experiences. Like, it's not necessarily that he had some kind of, connection to these people. He just happened to come across them and be involved with them and sort of learn from them, and that's just kind of how events unfolded. It's not like there was
Kenny?
There was not like a red string of fate that put them all together.
Well, I'd say the fact that they were related was pretty heavily important in that. Like,
I'm still waiting.
If
for us
Levi
to-
wasn't related to
yeah.
Kenny, I don't think they would have fallen in the same crowd because
No, they
he
wouldn't have.
purposely pulled strings to have that. You know what I mean?
Well, Levi was a former criminal, and Kenny was a
Levi was found
Yeah, well,
when he was a baby.
Kinda why? We're talking about like when Levi was like a baby, and, like
Yeah.
born. Kenny was the one who it's implied, I think, brought him into that life and kind of, for lack of a better term, raised him and took care of him.
Well,
I wouldn't really
Gave
call
him
it
some
music.
skills.
The greater point I was getting at was that I think it's more circumstantial than it is anything else.
And
I don't
I
think
still
so,
agree
because
with Ryan
The
that,
whole point is because they're
that
related.
they're
because,
related. Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny's related to his mother.
If they weren't related,
The only
Levi would have
reason
just
that
died
he-
in that brothel.
Yeah, because why else would he take some orphan kid under his wing, or whatever?
Well, the question was about Erwin, not Kenny.
No, but this is important because again, we're talking about the impact that Kenny had on Levi. He then goes on to what impact does Erwin have on that then, or what impact does Levi have on Erwin? Because we can see that Levi respects Erwin and looks up to him. to a certain degree. Well, I mean, it respects him at least to a certain degree. You know what I mean?
Clearly,
if he didn't trust him, he never would have gone to that first place. But anyway,
I still want to see the moment where Levi's Ackerman powers awoke.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it for either one of them. Fuck them both. Anyway,
Saint Thor.
Huh? Yeah. Clearly, Kenny and Erwin both have had huge impacts on him. I just don't. For Kenny, at least, I never really saw him as a father figure. I just saw him sort of as a more just a guide, just sort of a person he knows.
You might be right. Let me put it this way:
pass knowledge to him.
If Kenny was his father, then Erwin was the father he never had. You know what I mean?
Hey, just like me.
Full circle. That's full circle to what the question was actually asked.
Well, I mean, but it kind of works out because I guess that then everybody's get your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, makes everybody happy. I'm fine with that.
I think it's a good answer though because I still think that I think that kind of works.
I think it's cheesy though.
Well, I don't think it's too cheesy because if you think of it this way, if we accept that Kenny was a really shitty father, but he was like the only kind of father figure he had.
Yeah.
Then we could say, oh, well, Levi wished he had, a different father, a proper father. And you say, well, Erwin's the one he never had because he would ended up with that shitbag instead. Mm. Although, I don't mean that, Kenny. He's actually quite great.
Yeah.
Don't talk shit like Kenny.
I just think the use of that term and the use of that phrase, I think it's just a little too...
well, it's very subjective, and it really depends.
That's why I said it's a matter of
Kenny's his father, Erwin's his daddy.
That's why I said it was perspective, because you can look at it.
Technically, neither are his father, if we want to go that route.
Yeah, no one knows who his father is.
His father, exactly.
Oh, God.
That would be a twist.
What a twist.
Oh, exactly. Did we just clear them all? Oh, man.
That's it. That's the last question. We're done. That is chapter 83 in a nutshell, where we've wrapped up here.
Dude, that was a good chapter. Like, there was a lot packed in. I know you guys weren't all huge fans of it, but like, I felt there was a lot of material in there.
I don't really miss these chapters that are, I guess,
I thought
slower and not as.
I mentioned this at the beginning.
It was still a pretty big chapter.
I mean, it was.
That's what happened. I mentioned this at the beginning, but I just thought it was paced so nicely. I felt like there was a lot happening, but again, it wasn't overwhelming. I felt like we got, enough exposition, enough actual things happening at a time, but it wasn't like too much at once, and it was all kind of interwoven quite nicely. I just thought it was like I was reading along, and I was like, "This is pretty good," and then it was done. I was like, "Oh, it was a good chapter." I didn't feel it was dragging on, and I didn't feel it was too short. I just kind of felt it was,
it's definitely enjoyable.
Right.
Yeah. Can't complain about the pace. It's just obvious that anybody would want, more of the action.
I'm happy because we've seen. I guess we can't really judge until the arc as a whole is done, but we've seen in the past pacing has been a pretty big issue. Looking at arcs at large. In terms of how the story is moving. It's certainly picked up recently.
This is the first chapter of a new volume, right?
Yes, it is.
How are we even sorting those up anymore?
Armin's death, or supposed death, was the end of volume 20, which was supposed to be the big shocker at the end of the 10th volume.
Oh, I see.
Because every 5 volumes ends with a twist. The 5th volume was the female Titan appearance. The 10th volume was the Armored and Colossal Titan reveal. The 15th was Eren ate his dad, and the 20th was this.
This one's not really stacking up if Armin doesn't actually die.
Exactly, that's part of why I was so pissed.
That's actually a good point, because this chapter totally changes based on how the outcome of this pans out. If it's a really shitty ending, this could mean it was like, even if it's a shitty ending, this was still an okay chapter. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
So, do we want to say anything about Season 2, or do we just want to call it a wrap?
It's a thing, but everyone who's been on the subreddit knows that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it,
I guess we all knew that this was coming.
Honestly, it's like, it's I've been waiting so long for it, I'm not even really excited at this point. Like, I'm excited for it to come out, but it's not like, I'm by no means like counting down the months or days at this point, because it's just like, I've waited so long at this point, it's just kind of like, whatever.
I am, because I need to put together the subreddit rewatch, and I'm probably going to put up a poll in the next chat on Titan to see if we want to do it weekly or daily.
Yeah, we're calling it a wrap here. So we will see you guys on the next month's edition of A Cast on Titan.
Bye-bye.
Woo!
Cheers!
Do 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 do.